10 o'clock. I will call the regular meeting of the Gillum County Court to order. This is September 4th, 2024. We're in Condon, Gillum County Courthouse. A quorum has been established. All members are present, and we will now have the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any additions or revisions to the agenda?
Judge Patnode, I'd like to address the money that we sent to the soil conservation last meeting of $150,000, and we tabled that to put through the, I forget which grant.
The capital asset.
I don't see any reason, like Brooke has passed some information on, we can take that out of the county discretionary.
Okay. How about we address that under unfinished business?
Okay.
Okay, and then I'll let you address that there.
Okay.
And it will be before the early learning stability discussion.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right, correspondence and public comment. We'll begin with correspondence. We have a few pieces of correspondence that came in. I'll read those. The first is from the Condon Community Food Pantry. I am writing to provide you with an annual report of Condon Community Food Pantry as a condition of our MOA for stable funding. 2023-2024 has been filled with a huge amount of change and excitement for the Condon Community Food Pantry, and we are more than pleased to share them with you. On a monthly basis, the CCFP has increased our service on a monthly basis to approximately 160 individuals living in 70 households. This has been accomplished by the many revolving volunteers that have engaged each month. We are averaging approximately 70 to 90 hours of volunteer service each month. Many of the higher volunteer hours have been since March of 24, when we started the process of purchasing, remodeling, and updating new equipment so that we can sufficiently serve our increased demand on the food pantry. Food donations have lowered from local individuals as times are getting harder here in Condon. However, we have created a partnership with the grocery store in Hermiston that has supplemented the food pantry in food items available to our clients. Although we completely appreciate this donation of approximately 700 pounds of additional food each month, it has been a strain on our volunteers as fuel costs are out of control, but we are doing what we can to reimburse folks for their mileage. We are continuing to have our presence known within the community through local media, parades, and fundraising efforts. Our local Elks Lodge has been a wonderful partner for the food pantry and has granted us funds for some of the new equipment needed in our new facility, as well as some of the renovations, as well as individuals and corporate grants and donations have made many of our dreams come through. This, along with the county's commitment to provide CCFP with stable funding for both 2023 and use in 2024. The board updated all of our internal operational policies, including but not limited to the emergency assistant program policy, which now requires applicants to pursue potential resources through other entities, such as Columbia Basin Electric, Helping Hearts, and CAPCO, prior to applying for CCFP assistance. The board of directors are able to send our director to several grant writing courses, both online and in person, where she learned the art of grant writing. Because of this monumental act, we have written several grants to allow us the opportunity to purchase our new facility and move our location to a much larger facility, enabling us a better service to our community, able to increase our clientele. We've been working with Kelly Nonprofit Consulting and have purchased an online accounting system that we are working on getting set up in order to better report to the county court as well as other funders that have been helping us move forward with our endeavor. It's been a great year for the Common Community Food Pantry. The dedicated board of directors remain committed to doing whatever is necessary to continue its good work to move the organization forward and to be good, responsible stewards of the funding provided by Gillum County Memorandum of Agreement. We thank you sincerely for the support you are giving us and look forward to reporting good things as they happen in the coming years. And that is from the board of directors, Chairman Kalana Morin. We have a letter from the Gillum County Historical Society, and it reads, the Gillum County Historical Society would like to express their sincere gratitude for the generous award of the Special Projects Grant. This funding will be invaluable in supporting our ongoing efforts to pursue and promote, sorry, it's handwritten, it's a little bit difficult to read, the rich history of Gillum County. Indeed, the 1910 Sandboard Map Project aligns with the Society's goals and will offer a unique window into the city's past. A bygone era, this project will bring that past to the present. We are truly honored to receive this support from the Gillum County Court. Your investment in our community's history will have a lasting impact. Thank you again for your generosity and commitment to preserve our heritage. This letter is from Denny Newell, Blaylock. Judge Pat knows Commissioners Wilkins and Watkins. The court is poised to spend more than $1 million on the Kelly contract, the purpose of which is to wean nonprofits from reliance upon county funds. Both this court and your immediate predecessors have made clear your reluctance to be the mother cow, so to speak, to nonprofits through the county. In light of your announced reservations, I think it is ironic that you, the court, would entertain forming yet another nonprofit organization. Let me remind you that the endowment idea, I need to clarify, the subject line on this letter is agenda item 5.1, early learning stability. In light of your recent announcement, I think it's ironic that you, the court, would entertain forming yet another nonprofit organization. Let me remind you that the endowment idea was sprung upon the public in much the same manner and during the same time period as the former court's ill-fated transfer of probate jurisdiction. Like the probate transfer, the endowment lacked sufficient public airing. I've been told by multiple sources the matter came before the previous court upon urging that the lame duck judge in an effort to curry favor from the governor's office. True or not, the important consideration is that this represents a significant dedication of a limited revenue stream, and that alone warrants greater public discussion. The further understanding current language unnecessarily and perhaps detrimentally ties county funding to state certifications, guidelines, and/or requirements. I urge you to table further endowment discussions while you tackle today's gross inequity between county funds obligated to support education in Condon versus county funds similarly allocated for Arlington. Something like 10 to 1, if I'm not mistaken. Regards, Denny Newell. That concludes the correspondence, and we'll go into public comment and then the remaining items of correspondence. I do have one person who's signed up for public comment, Catherine Greiner, on the topic of the, is it community pool? Okay. All right, come on up. I do need to clarify, individuals wishing to address the county court may do so at this time. Your name will be called by the chair, which time you can come forward for testimony. Speakers are asked to give their name and address and limit their comments to 3 minutes.
Good morning. Catherine Greiner, City of Condon, City Administrator, 128 South Main Street. So what I'm coming for you today is that our City Council tonight is going to have a very come to Jesus moment about the Condon Community Swimming Pool. So I wanted to kind of give, and obviously this is during public comment, so I don't expect a discussion. I just wanted you guys to know where we're at and what we're going to talk about tonight. So what we've come to the conclusion is in 2011, we had a partnership with the county, the school, and the city to maintain and operate the Condon Community Pool, which was owned by the school district. So we have a lease. And when we came to this agreement, which I was not sitting on the committee, it was a community committee that got together from all 3 entities plus community members to do this. So how it's arranged is this The school still owns the pool. We lease it at no cost or $1 each year, and it's on a year-to-year lease. That is pretty much the extent of the school's participation in this agreement at this time. The county at that point said that if the city ran the pool and operated it, they would provide the operating funds. And they gave us at that time, I think it was up to $50,000. Our newest agreement is to 2026, it's up to $70,000. You need to know that what this agreement is reimbursed for is just the operating of the pool. It's not for major expenses, which we have come for special projects and other grant funds for that. But what it does entails is all the operations, but what it doesn't cover is my time, payroll, accounts payable, purchasing, our public works time that go down and help out down at the pool, of all of those. So there's some in-kind other than us just running the pool. And the city would never have taken this project on if we knew that we didn't have the county's financial support to operate the pool. So what we're coming to now is, as we had one pool professional come and say, is that it appears our pool, like many others in Eastern Oregon, has been touched by every single rancher in the community. So what we have is we have a system that is 60 plus years old and is near failure. So one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we had, that you knew, is that in 2018, John Day looked into getting a new pool. They have since closed their pool and have not reopened a new pool because they didn't pass a bond. The cost of a new pool costs anywhere from probably at 2018 prices was 4.2 million up to, I'm just giving you the prices too for keeping it an outdoor seasonal pool. And if we want to have that discussion at another time, we can. But the outdoor seasonal pool costs about $70,000 to operate every year. A new pool like that, which would be a bathhouse, which obviously we'd have to change locations, would be anywhere at 2018 from 4.2 to over $7 million for a new pool. Looking at those costs, we did have someone come in probably about a month ago and said, you know what, we're tired of jerry-rigging this pool around. Let's figure out what it costs to get a new system, one that's going to work, that we can have a person come in and so-and-so didn't put the boiler in, so-and-so didn't put the solar system in, and have professionals come in. They gave us a quote on what it would fix just to fix the operation of the pool. This is no bathhouse, no ADA requirements, which I think we're going to have to do. We're talking about $1.8 to $2 million just to get it up and running again. So what I'm going to the council tonight is what I'm going to recommend is there's three options I think that the council has. Is one, we contact a third-party pool expert and find out what actually needs fixed, what a master plan will look like for the Condon community pool. I anticipate, I'm just guessing, and I have a call at 11:30 today to talk to a third-party person that can do this. It would probably cost about $20,000 to get that study done. That's just a ballpark what I think could possibly. Might be more, it might be less. I don't know. The second thing is what we could do is try and jerry-rig it one more year and go through the process of a year to start running down the funds, depending on if we wanted to fix it or if we wanted to try and get a new pool. One thing you need to realize is what we've got through the Condon can and everything else is that a lot of people want to have an indoor pool and have a 24, operate year round. That pool would probably cost about $12 million. And just to operate it in 2018 prices, if you could find lifeguards during the whole year, would be about $500,000 to operate the pool. It's not viable. And it's not viable for you, the county, it's not viable for us. So the third option that the council is going to have to look at tonight is we're done. It's reached its limits. We'll close the pool. We won't renew our lease. We will let it go. We'll let it go. And I think the only way that we can do option one and option two is down the road. We have the commitment of up to 10 years of if we go out and we'll have to get some infrastructure money from the county, but we have already started reaching out to what grants are available. Oregon Park and Rec have grants. for family health grants. We could start looking, I think there's also a USDA grant for pools for community safety. So if we decide to jerry-rig it for a year, I do have some conditions between my people tonight that we'll discuss tonight, but I won't get into it here. But it's reached its time. So I guess what I just wanted the commissioners in the county court to know is that this discussion is happening tonight. And also too is that if they decide to go with the master plan, I think we have enough money with the amount we're gonna get this year already from the court. And the ESD gave us a big boost this year because they had a program where they reimbursed us for up to 20,000, and that should be coming in. So I think we can afford the master plan if that's where the council wants to go. But what I'm going to come back, if we're going to move forward with option 1 or option 2 is, well, actually option 1 of master plan and going forward with a pool, fix or build new, is it'll give us a year to go for this. But I need to have a commitment from the county court on both those things that are coming in. So the money that has been taken, just so you guys know, is there is a recreational pool line item in your budget that it's come out of for the last 12 years. And it's only at 65,000 this year, even though our contract's for 70, but we do offset that request by the money we take in for swim lessons and all of that. So again, it's public comment. I don't expect you to respond or ask questions. If anyone wants to zoom in tonight or attend the meeting, you're more than welcome to do that. And I'll be back.
I will comment that we had, I think I was on the school board when we did the original bond and band-aided the pool. And I think at that time we were like, well, we'll hope this pushes it down the road 20 years. So
It did.
We've reached the 20-year mark. So yeah.
And I mean, we all know how important the pool is to the community. I mean, we have over 2,000 swimmers a year that use the pool over those months. We have over 100 kids come and take swimming lessons. And this year, because of the ESD program, we had a bus coming from Wheeler County. We had a bus coming from Arlington. So it is being used and it's an important thing.
There's a lot of out-of-town kids that come and take swimming lessons.
We get a lot of Wheeler County.
Yeah.
And that will also be, they will be approached.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you.
Okay, the other item of correspondence was the treasurer's report. Are there any comments on the treasurer's report? Okay. Community Counseling Solutions. Kimberly Lindsay, come on up to the table.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the first time.
Nice to meet you. Yes, Kimberly, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good morning.
How are you?
Don't worry about it.
All right, well, just my update that I usually do twice a year, but got pushed a little bit back, so I didn't come in the spring. I don't know if it would be helpful, Commissioner Wilkins, I could schedule a time to meet with you to talk about how the relationship between CCS and the county works as the community mental health program. It strikes me that, I mean, I'm just gonna dive into this and you might be swimming a little bit, so.
No, I would appreciate that, yeah.
I'll
Get together with
work
you.
with Anya to
Okay.
maybe get your email and schedule. Did I say your name right?
Mhm.
Okay, excellent. Schedule a time to meet with you, we can have lunch
Sure.
and give you the crash course on community mental health programs. So with that in mind, I first wanted to check in on the deflection contract. So just a quick reminder, I've worked with Commissioner Watkins on that. The county signed on to provide deflection services. If I were to back up this, the start of this was Measure 110, which decriminalized a lot of drug activities. And then there was a House bill this last legislative session that mostly recriminalized. But a part of that House bill offered funding to counties that wanted to sign on to provide a deflection program, which is, it's kind of an early engagement program to get individuals that qualify enrolled in services that can include treatment earlier than what they typically would. If they complete treatment, their crime would be expunged. We're not talking about individuals that are that have multiple offenses or high-level crimes. This is basically the individual, this is the first time that they've been caught with a small amount of drugs that would be eligible for this. And in Gillum County, I think we're really talking about a very small number of people, probably less than 10. If Sheriff Betancourt were here, you might say even less than 5. But it's a very good program that we've put together. We're really excited to start it. We will be hiring a part-time deflection peer that will work closely with the Sheriff's Office and treatment services to get people engaged.
Can I ask you a question about staffing? Staffing can be difficult. Will you be able to find somebody to do that?
I think we will, Judge Patno, because it's a peer position. So we're not looking for somebody that has a bachelor's or master's degree. It's somebody who's been there, done that. And it has been difficult to find those positions that I just referenced, bachelor's, master's, but it hasn't been nearly as difficult to find the peers. So I think this is real wood, not particle board. I think we'll be okay. It might be a little while, but I think we should be okay. There's also a deflection supervisor that's in the budget that we put together. Not it's this supervisor will supervise the one peer in Gillum, the one peer in Morrow, the one peer in Grant. Wheeler did not sign on for this, and 2 peers in Umatilla. So Gillum County, like all the other counties, is just sharing their prorated cost of the supervisor and of the care coordinator. So I sent Umatilla County's contract to the
District attorney.
the DA who was going to work on that. Do you know,
She's
Judge,
working on it.
if there's any update on that?
She came to the last meeting that was held in Arlington, and she said it's being worked on.
Okay. Okay,
I
great.
trust she'll do that.
Great. So when we get that signed, well, we are going on, I'm sure that it's gonna get signed, the contract's gonna get signed. So we are advertising for the position right now for Gillum County. And yeah, so I'll give you an update the next time we meet. No documents to go with that. The first document in the packet that I gave you is around Measure 110. So you might recall when they decriminalized it, they used all of the marijuana tax to enhance treatment services. They really thought that since there was no, they really thought that people were going to be taking advantage of free treatment and that we were going to be very busy. We were not, but they haven't changed the funding structure for that. So Measure 110 does send a lot of marijuana tax dollars to the state to disperse in the form of free treatment, which is good. you'll see Gillum County, I'm sorry that the print is so small, is receiving $2 million over a 4-year period. I say Gillum County, it goes to the community mental health program. It doesn't go directly to the county. As long as, well, you know what, let me back up. $2 million is available to individual or to agencies who want to provide treatment services in Gillum County. The last go around, there was 2 entities that responded for Gillum County, Community Counseling Solutions, and a program that provides treatment via telehealth only. And they received about 50,000, CCS received 700,000. The 750 was for a 2-year term. And so they have changed it to 500,000 over 4 years. We're in the process of responding to the RFP. I didn't print the full RFP off. I'm happy to send it to you. It's about 40 pages long. What I did print off was the amount that would be available in Gillum County. It's very similar to the application that we submitted several years ago. Basically, what you're saying is you're going to provide peer support, alcohol and drug counseling, assessment groups, outreach to the community, low barrier treatment services, low barrier interventions, detox and residential to individuals that are come in for treatment.
I just got one quick question. You
Sure.
mentioned the 2 million. Is that dedicated solely for Gillum County
Yeah.
for 4 years? Did you say
Yep, 500,000 a year.
500,000 a year that's dedicated for?
Well, it'll go
programs.
to programs that desire to provide services in Gillum County.
Okay.
It'll be divided up amongst programs that you could have 5 programs that respond and get funded. They each would not receive 500,000. That's the total amount. So the
Right.
state would decide how much each entity is going to get.
Okay.
CCS will put in for the full amount for Gillum County. I really don't have a sense of anyone else that's responding for Gillum County. The program that responded last time was based over on the west side. I feel like their home office was in the Portland area, but I can't recall right now off the top of my head.
I have one, but I'll catch up with you on it that
Okay.
I would like to ask you about possible use for it.
Okay,
So-
yep. Yep. I could, if you would like, I'd be happy to send all of you the full application. I just didn't want to kill trees, but I'll send that to you and you can read through it. It has to, whatever you do, it has to touch upon the seven elements. You can just do 1 element, or you can respond to 3, or you can respond to 7. And I say 7, I think they dropped it to 6 because one of them was supported employment, but they put that in with the treatment piece. So I'll send that to you, and then Grant, when we meet,
Yes.
happy to visit about that. Any questions on the burn application? I'll show you the final application that we submit next time we meet. It is due the end of September, beginning of October. The next document is just an FYI. We submitted this in the spring. It's a grant that was funded to provide services to veterans in Morrow, Wheeler, Gillum, and Grant. So you can read through it if you want. It's a part-time person. And on page 3, you see a description of the proposed services, the F, and that is that we wanted to hire a dedicated alcohol and drug counselor that has experience with veterans or is a veteran themselves to work with veterans who are struggling with addictions issues. And again, we did get funded for that.
Have you made contact with our veteran services person? And will they help you? I mean, would that be a way to help make that connection?
Yes,
Okay,
I have not personally, but I know that when we were working on this, we reached out to the VSOs
okay.
in those counties. And this isn't the first veterans grant that we've written. It's probably about the 3rd. And 3 years and as many years that's veteran specific. I feel like so happy to always connect with them though,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I believe that we did when we were putting this together.
Okay.
Yeah, they might have even submitted a letter of support for this. Yeah. Next document, just a bedtime reading. We do a newsletter as an agency. It comes out around probably about 3 times a year. This is the most recent one. It's a look maybe under the hood at some things that we're working on, different programs that are occurring, and new employees that are leaving. You see work that we did on a veteran stand down in there, just different things that we're supporting. Next document is longer. I didn't realize how long it was when I pressed print, so you did get it. To take a step back in 2018, CCS decided to adopt the Zero Suicide Initiative. We reached out to all of the counties and asked if they would be willing to sign on as a zero suicide county, and Gillum County did sign on, so we have that up on our website. That doesn't mean that you need to do anything as commissioners, just that you agree that suicide is an important issue. We recognize that the word zero is aspirational. It's unlikely that we could completely eliminate suicide. However, we can't say that one is okay. So when we adopted it, we had some work to do. So if you would turn to the 3rd page, there's 2 parts to the initiative. One is an external assessment that you do. One is an internal assessment that is completed. You'll see, I don't know why, we work with Portland State to assess us. I don't know why they do the lines in monochromatic blue. They could do different colors, but nonetheless, the darkest blue is 2019, the lightest blue is 2023. I was surprised when we did this in 2019. I thought that our staff felt more confident in working with people who have suicide, but I was mistaken. It was a big eye opener. Pleased to say that we've made a lot of improvement over the last 5 years. We still have, though, a lot of work to do. So the 7 elements of zero suicide, the first is lead, and leading is an example of what I'm doing now as the agency director, providing information on zero suicide, keeping it at the forefront of people's minds, discussing it. Training our workforce and training our community partners on suicide care, treatment, and how to interact with individuals that are struggling. So we've put on a lot of trainings called, a lot of QPR trainings, question, persuade, refer. We've recently completed some in Gillum County. It's just a good layperson's training for people who are out on the street and talking with somebody, and the individual says, sometimes I just wonder if it's worth waiting till tomorrow, or, you know, I don't know if tomorrow's gonna come for me. We hear those comments, you've heard those, and how do we respond? So it's easy to say, oh, it'll be better tomorrow, and sometimes it's not to say that it's not helpful, but there could be something that's more helpful to say. So equipping people with skills to do that. Third is identifying, this is where you start to get into the treatment piece when people come in, making sure that we're identifying those who are at higher risk, engaging them. So after that first appointment, are they coming back? 5 is treatment. 6 is transitioning when they're leaving care with CCS. Are we successfully transitioning them back to the community? And then 7, what are we doing to assess quality improvement around this within our organization? The remaining pages rank us individually within those and talk about the work that we are doing. We have a zero suicide leadership committee within CCS. We have a zero suicide coordinator. We wrote a grant. The coordinator was funded for 3 years by the grant. With the board's approval, we'll continue to fund the position when the grant ends at the end of 2025, June 2025. I've talked about zero suicide, I think most of the times that I meet with the commissioner, so it's probably not completely new, but we want to pause, ask if you have any questions. It's okay if you don't. It's important, passionate about this. I am, and others, but just do want to check in.
Thank you for your efforts. Very, very important, considering how our county has been touched.
Yes. Yes. Next document, looking under the hood, I give you all of our audit reports that are relative to Dillon County. Gobi is the program that oversees the Medicaid funding for EOCCO, which is the regional carrier of Oregon Healthcare Plan. We get audited every other year by Gobi to see how we're doing with regards to the provision of care for behavioral health services for Oregon Healthcare Plan individuals. You can see that they had 4 findings, which is good. I've seen a lot worse. One year we didn't have any findings, so that might be aspirational again, as I'm told that's never happened before and has never happened since, but I'm glad to say that the CCS that had it happen too. So first finding, there was some things that were missing in a few assessments that they looked at. A couple of them like this, they were done, but they were matching, they were missing signatures. There was a few that had diagnoses, but the auditors didn't feel that all of the diagnostic criteria were listed to support the diagnosis. I just want to say they reviewed about 100 charts. So if you have 2 or more that are missing something, you'll have it as a finding. So we had 10 or less, but 2 or more. So there's somewhere between 10 and 2 for these. Entry and assessment, you're supposed to update the assessment annually. A couple of those didn't have that. You can see the number down at the bottom, 3 to finding number 3 is around treatment plans. They didn't have the specific information that they were looking for. In finding number 4 of the service records, the note didn't describe the service that was billed. And then there's next steps for us. We did submit our response. We're just waiting for it to be approved by Gobi. The next document, we submit a quarterly report to the state on the warm line. Warm line is kind of like a crisis line, staffed by peers, people who have been there, done that, who have lived life experience. CCS started the warm line back in 2003 out of Wheeler County. 2 farmers that answered the phone Fridays from 5 until 10. First week there was no call. Second week there was 1 call. Today you can see that, just looking for the final page here. In the last quarter there was 20,000 calls that came into the warm line that are answered. There's calls that we can't take. So, fully funded by the state. We just received an increase to add a bilingual line. I say just in the past year. You can see that the bilingual number lines are increasing, so it's funded at just over 3 million. I provide these when I meet with you, just so you can see that work. The second to last document is the customer service report, customer survey. We show you all of the comments. This is voluntary. At the end of every quarter, people are given the opportunity to complete it. You can see that there was about 5 individuals that completed it. Those that did were all pleased with the services. And the comment for Gillum County is on the back page. EMDR is a therapy modality that we use, and I think what the customer is saying that they were receiving cognitive behavioral therapy, they're now receiving EMDR, and they're liking the results that they're getting. So it's a little, it's not quite clear to me, but we just retype what they say. You can see the comments for all of the counties. Any questions on that?
Oh, thank you.
The last document, the residential programs that we operate, they put together a report for the board of directors, just giving an update on what they're doing, and that's the most recent report that they submitted. Our acute care program, psychiatric acute care, is up and running in Hermiston, River's Edge Acute Center for Healing. It just had its first 90-day review yesterday. The auditor was very pleased with how things are going. It's nice to have a local resource for people who are in need of psychiatric acute care. They're no longer needing to drive to Portland. It is an hour for Gillum County though to get there, so I get that hour and a half depending upon where they're driving from. That's it. A lot of talking and documents. Any questions, comments, concerns? Okay.
Hopefully you can reach out to Kimberly. I feel
Yes.
like I already, over 24 years, have dealt with you through the treatment and my prior job and being a prior board member. But either of you can reach out.
Yeah, I'll get in touch with you, Catherine, and like I say, I have one idea that I would like to try to see if maybe we can use some of this money for.
Certainly. Yep. I'll send the application so you can see, and then we can visit about it. We'll schedule a time to meet.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you shut that door when you're,
Yeah, absolutely.
I can hear them guys out there.
I can't, of course, I'm deaf, but
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, next agenda item is project updates, Jet Shot Clear Consulting Group Incorporated. Mr. Schott?
Good morning.
In your packet, you have the prepared documents. Go ahead.
Okay, we'll go through them just in the same order as the documents. So the first one we have is Gillum County Bus Barn. This is an ODOT funded project for housing Gillum County transportation equipment, and also provides office space for the staff that's currently downstairs. It's going to be located north of the fairgrounds, across from the existing exhibit hall. It kind of takes up the whole depth. There's a section in there, and there's parking on each side of it. And some of the thinking on that is the parking on each side of it can kind of be shared with the Gillum County Fairgrounds used to, and there's some thinking that longer term that can be better improved and organized, particularly to the west of that, because it was used, for example, during the fires this year, and then of course during fair it gets used quite a bit. It's just bare dirt, and this year it was pretty much after the fires.
Much down to
It's about a $1.6 million project. I would say on the design side, we're about 90% complete. The holdup right now on that one is ODOT awarded the grant, I think, officially awarded the grant about a year ago. I think it was in September. I'm not entirely sure of that. And but they came back this spring on this one, and then there's a similar one in Sherman County that we're working on, and wanted additional environmental review on it, NEPA review, which is really the historical. The review is the biggest part of that, Section 106 review. So apparently ODOT is taking care of that. I was a little surprised that came up because it looked to me like that this was going to be excluded from that requirement, but apparently ODOT is not excluding that. They're doing that on their own. We had a meeting with them last week sometime. So I'm hesitant to put this one out for bid until we get that particular issue resolved. The other one I want to get out resolved is there's going to be on-site septic disposal on that. We got approval to do that, but we have not submitted the drawings for the actual design. And we have to get that design approved before we get building permits. And so that's going to go out. It should have gone out already, but it hasn't gone out yet. So that one is, that's kind of on hold there. We still have to do the actual bid documents, which is a few days work on it. But as far as the structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, all of that's taken care of. The other thing that you should be aware of on that one is that, and this is an adder for Gilliam County, and this was previously as we're planning on putting 2 level 2 charging stations outside the building that would be available for the public to use those. But it would be fed from the electrical service within this building. And
That's
so
at the bus barn.
that's at the bus barn. That's
Okay.
across from the fairgrounds center. Yeah. We have it on the west side out there, a couple of paid parking spots for that. Inside the bus barn, there is there's a provision for 2 future level 2 chargers should county transportation ever have electric vehicles, which as of this time, they apparently do not. So
But you'll have the power set up.
we'll have the power set up to do it. So it has a little bit larger, significantly larger service than
Sure.
we've had otherwise. And I believe I have a quote or an estimate for Columbia Basin for that. That one's taken care of. Any questions about that?
You said the ODOT was gonna take care of it. Does that mean that they were gonna do the study and pay for it? Or
Yeah, that's my understanding. Is we're gonna
Okay.
take it to ship over back. It's gonna be back, I'm guessing November, December.
Okay,
So that one should, we'll get that back, go out for bid. And I'd like to have a lot of these go out for bid together or close to the same time. Because I think all the projects are the size that they would benefit in theory, in principle at least, if, and you never know because these are going to go out as bid projects, but if you have a contractor that has one, they can share supervision over multiple projects. In my experience has been on these projects, we typically are going to pay honestly a couple $100,000 to have full-time supervision on these projects if they take 8 months just to have that guy there. So if we can spread that out and reduce that overhead, I think there's some economies in scale of doing that. If we put it out though, it doesn't necessarily mean that one contractor is going to necessarily get both jobs, although my experience has been normally the people that are more aggressive on one job are going to be more aggressive on the other ones too. So, okay. Any questions on that one?
No.
Okay.
I
Common
have
early.
a question.
Oh, yeah.
So would when they bid, saying they are gonna have multiple projects, but if they don't get the multiple projects, this is what they would bid to? would
No,
they-
we're only gonna have one number.
Okay,
We're not gonna break that up. That way.
okay.
We can't really do that. I don't really know that. What we can do in bids, and sometimes if you wanted to, for example, make the car, in fact, we will do this, mostly so that we can kind of narrow down the cost on it. We'll have an alternate for the car charging stations on the outside.
Okay.
And then that's a way that we can say, okay, that costs this much more because without it, it would be this much less. And so we can do that as an additive alternate. And then if the county chose not to do it, they could say that we're not going to do that. I don't like to put too many alternates into the bids because it gets complicated and muddy for everybody, but we can put in, I'm going to say up to 4 pretty easily. And this one, I think we only have 1. Okay. Founding Early Learning Center expansion. So this is in addition to the Concord Early Learning Center. This really isn't a county project in per se, in that the construction portion of it is going to be handled by Concord Early Learning Center. The design is being funded by Gilliam County, and it's actually out of some federal grant money. It's COVID money, I think, effectively that was in there. And so the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, which is done by MFI, which is a separate group that we're kind of managing, and Pillar, and some of the other work that was done on it, design work, geotechnical work, being funded by the county. Design's about 70% complete. Mechanical, electrical, plumbing is done. Structural is done. Really the holdup is me on this one on the A sheets and the civil design. We do have land use approval on it, but I've got to finalize those drawings, and there's some details on the interior and bid documents to go out. I believe that this project will be subject to prevailing wage, but not Oregon contracting rules. The reason I think that is because the county's already funded over $750,000, and once that's a threshold which triggers bowling wages on a project, that the county would not occupy that space. So we'll build that into the contract. That's a little bit of an unusual, a little bit of a hybrid. And it would make sense for the bus barn and that to kind of go out at the same time. Next one up by the fairgrounds, the Dillon County Fairgrounds Event Center. So this project is effectively what we're going to kind of describe this. There's a bunch of little pieces to it, but on the west end of the existing exhibit hall, there's that meeting room, and then there's that kitchen that kind of is off to the side. And that kitchen is going to go away. And that meeting room is going to kind of be reorganized. And then there's a separate building that's just under 3,000 square feet. It's essentially a kitchen and 2 meeting rooms. It can be 1 meeting room with new accessible bathrooms in it. And the idea is that it's a meeting space that can be used by the fairgrounds and other groups in the county year round. So it's going to be heated. It's going to be a nice space. Then outside of that space, there's going to be a little gazebo to the west, kind of out where the lawn area. So this is going to take up some of the lawn area, but we actually are pushing the lawn area out a little bit to the west. And then there's also a plan to put a windmill as kind of a decorative item on the west side of that too. This project is being largely funded. The fairgrounds, and correct me here, but received effectively about a $1.3 million grant plus some other money to do it. The way the project stands now, I don't think that that's going to cover the entire project. I think the building itself can be covered by that, but there's a bunch of other things up there, like the remodel of the existing building, the gazebo, and then there's some other utility things like water and electrical on that site that should be updated and need to be updated to be done with this project that are going to require additional funding. So we'll probably be somebody will probably be coming back on that when we have a little better take on that.
For consideration.
For consideration, yeah.
Budget.
So you think the total is going to exceed over 2 million already with this?
Yeah, I do, I think. I mean, I think there's about 1.5 million in there, and then I think so. Everything's expensive, and so I'm trying to kind of get my mind wrapped around about what that's going to be. But I don't think that's more than 2 million from the county, but there will be some additional funding, I think, to complete the project to get that.
Okay.
At least in its current form. There was a plan at one point that was part of the project to replace the existing double wide that serves as the fair office. And then the thinking on that, the vision on that was that extension service would be in there, and the fair office, it would be an improvement. And it was great, but based on where the rest of the project is cost-wise, that's been put on the side. Now, it probably will go in on planning documents that I've not submitted to the city, but that I do have prepared. I'm going to put that in there as part of the potential plan. So if somebody wants to do that, that's part of the plan. But I don't think at this point in time that's going to be part of that. We're not making that part of the application. Lost some space here. The building's about 2,850 square feet, and it sits on the west end of the building. So we've got the schematic design completed on that. I've got to submit the land use drawings, and we got detailed approval to do the work in July. We started doing some of the detailed design work on it. That's going to be a big push in September since fair's over with, so that we can sit down and focus on that. Do you have any questions about that?
When do you think construction can start?
Probably next spring.
Next spring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Originally, I was hoping all these projects were going to go out last year for bid, but I think they're going to go out this fall, and they're going to be probably close to all at the same time.
2025 is coming.
2025, that's right. Change the dates on. Any other questions on that project? Okay. The last one that I have here is a library EV charging station, which that is, a little background on that project. So ODOT had a grant application that came out last year sometime to put in car charging stations. And so it was a quick go fast thing. And so I came up with a cost opinion that was very rough about what I thought was going to be required from it. And in addition to that, in addition to the car charging station, and this occurs out in the lot that was the Holland and Sons warehouse east of the library. So behind, there's a little landscaped area. It's really that 5,000 square feet behind the library.
Okay.
This is gonna go. So what we kind of settled on the scope was one level 3 charger, which is a fast charger. It takes a lot of electricity, big power service. And then 2 level 2 chargers that are smaller. They're think about them as a 400 mile per hour charger and a 40 mile per hour, 2 40 mile per hour chargers. And then there was a landscaping piece and hardscaping piece associated with this. So the grant application that went to ODOT was very rough, and it basically covered the electrical service, the paving, some sidewalk work in front of it. It didn't cover the landscaping portion of the project. And there's the idea or the current thinking that I think complies with Condon's land use, and I think makes the most sense is 3 parking spaces on the site, on the east end of the site that you would enter from Ward Street, which is, nobody knows where Ward Street is, but it's on the east side of it. You would enter the east side, there'd be a parking lot in there, there'd be, the chargers would be in there. There's a little space for the library's trailer that they use for storage, and then the rest of it would be landscape. But it requires, to get that narrowed up, it requires some electrical, it requires significantly more additional design work and specifically electrical. Nobody's actually done any, I'm not an electrical engineer. Somebody needs to do some electrical design and get that specified to get that thing put out there. But my understanding is the project is funded, but I don't think the county's received any funding.
No, we signed a grant agreement, but we haven't received the grant agreement signed by all others
Okay.
yet.
And I suspect this project will also have to go through the need for review process. So I did fill out the same categorical exclusion, which I thought it was excluded, but based on the other projects. And there'll be some findings by SHIP. I don't think it'll kill the project, but just by virtue of the fact it's in the historical district, makes a difference. And up at the fairgrounds, that particular winding of the fairgrounds, most of the buildings are well over 50 years old. Because I'm over 50 years old, and they've been there my entire life. So, yeah. So they're gonna, there's gonna be some comment on that, I expect. I don't think it'll hurt the projects, but that would come. So anyway, that's the scope of that project, but that project's kind of in its infancy at this point.
It has a tenure like that grant.
Oh, it does?
That was interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
That ODOT one does.
So I don't know when the county is gonna get funding on that. I'm assuming the county's taking care of the way I understood it. The county's gonna take care of the design portion of that project, but then I've heard other things that ODOT might too.
Yes, we have calls in
I don't know.
to them
I don't
to
know what's
clarify
going
that.
on there.
Yes.
But it seems like some aspects of it, you're gonna need to have your own, somebody local or somebody working for you needs to have a portion of that site, make sure that it is built with the county.
Right. Okay.
I think my biggest concern was building this to make sure that the service coming in is adaptable or down the road possibly. I mean, I don't know how much more they're gonna need, but I'd hate to have it just come in and something changes to where we have to tear it all out down the road, and upgrade, but maybe that's the way it is.
So, well, I think to a certain extent so a couple of things. The level 3 chargers require a 3-phase 400-enabled electrical service. It's gonna be a big service.
Yeah.
Switch gear is gonna be expensive, right?
Yeah.
So, you're looking at like, 200 to 300 kilowatts for that particular charger. I mean, put it in perspective, that's like a 250 to 350 horsepower engine. That's a lot of power in one spot. So if you were going to make space for it, to put in like 2 level 3 chargers, you're gonna pay a premium in oversizing your service to make that work. The one good thing about it though is I did talk to Columbia Basin, because originally I was looking at, hey, can we do 4 services? And I'm like, that's some megawatt power potentially, depending on the size of the, and whether you could upgrade or not. And Columbia Basin was like, I think that we can get you that. The substation has capacity to do that. I'm not at all proposing we do that, but you could, I think, do it. And I'm not sure that they would necessarily have to upgrade their distribution network in town to get there. But because one, that was my original concern, was that would be a hefty cost, right? Because you're gonna pack 1 million, close to half mile, 3/4 of a mile of primary power in there. So anyway.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Any questions?
Don't think so.
Okay. Right, well, thank you.
Hopefully, next year this time we'll be
Yeah,
seeing something done.
well, and I'll probably be back hopefully a couple of times.
Or started.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
Thanks,
much.
John.
Mr. Schott. Thank you very much. Consent agenda, we have several items, but I think we also have on Zoom potentially Joseph Kamara.
He's here.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that you were here in person. Come on up and then you can address the items, the item you would like to address, which is consider public health contract amendment with Umatilla County.
Yeah, so good morning. I'm Joe Kumar, Public Health Director for Umatilla County Public Health. As you know, we currently under contract are conducting the inspections for the food pool and lodging program, as well as for the on-site septic systems for the smaller systems that DEQ delegates down to the local levels. I believe along with I had sent a report of some of the work we had done in 2023, which I'm hoping you guys have seen or at least have had access to. And I'm able to answer any questions tied to that or explain anything that doesn't make sense, because sometimes it doesn't make sense when you even write those things. But ultimately what I'm looking for is we are looking to increase the stipends from 8,000 to 10,000 annually for the service of these programs. I think we've been doing this for about 2 years now, and I didn't want to make any changes until we had a full cycle kind of under the belt, so we could really see what things look like rather than just projections. And even with the report I give you, some of those numbers are not as hard as I would like them to be. There are some assumptions that get made when it comes to how we split some of those costs out. The black and white on that report is as close as I can get. But due to both some system limitations of the system we use, as well as things like calculating, how much the cost is in just sitting in the car while inspectors are driving to sites, there is some assumption built in there. And so I'm just acknowledging that number is a little fuzzy, and we acknowledge that. But I do think with increase to 10,000, I'm comfortable with what those costs look like. Obviously, we are trying to be good stewards of money. We're trying to be as efficient as we can when we conduct activities, while also not putting Umatilla County residents on the hook for activities we're conducting outside of those boundaries. And so we're trying to balance that aspect. But really, I'm mostly here in case there's any questions or concerns or anything you'd like me to try to answer.
Okay.
I've been doing this for Gillum for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's right about 2 years, in July of, what are we in, 2022?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think July of 22 is when we officially started doing that.
So your food inspections include like county fair, that 19 for 20.
Yeah. So there's a few pieces tied in there. So under the OHA delegation of authority, that's restaurants, which is not like your grocery store type restaurants with the way the state breaks that out. That's the Department of Ag. So it's your restaurants where I think the official designation is more than 50% of their sales are coming from on-site consumption of food products. And that's the separation between OHA and Department of Ag with those types of facilities, so there's not multiple licenses on a single entity. So the food includes things like restaurants, mobile units, temporary restaurants, or things like the fair and so forth. And it also kind of tags in the schools and daycare facilities. Those aren't facilities we license, but they, through their requirements, they are requirements to be inspected. And usually those inspections happen through us, and we actually essentially bill them a set rate per inspection on those as we go forth. And so it's part of the program statewide, but it's not part of the licensing aspect of that, if that makes sense.
Right.
So
I'm comfortable with the increase.
Grant, just for historical purposes, when Gillum County took on the public health
Right.
piece, I think that the South Gillum Health District had no interest in doing that part. And the North Central Public Health did not want to remain doing that. So they reached out to a couple different entities and ended up landing with Umatilla as the environmental health.
One of the hurdles with running one of these programs is the certifications required for the staff conducting this work.
Yeah.
And there is, from a fiscal standpoint, that there is kind of a number you have to be able to get to for it to make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And this was provided originally before with Northern Moscow.
North Central
North
Public
Central,
Health.
okay, yeah.
Correct.
Okay,
All right.
all right. Does anybody have any more questions?
No, but thank you for coming down, and it was nice to meet you
It'd
finally.
be good to put
Yes.
eyes, and meet you guys. It was a nice day for a drive, a little hazy today, but not bad at all.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so the consent agenda includes several items. 4.1, consider approval of minutes. The amendment that we just were informed about by Mr. Primara, Umatilla County, consider amendment to Oregon Health Authority 2325 IGA for financing public health services. Consider approval of bills pending review, and consider approval of Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs Highly Rural Areas Grant Agreement. Are there any questions about the items on the consent agenda? If there are not, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Consent agenda is passed. Unfinished business, we have an addition to the agenda, and it's the Soil and Water Conservation District requested $150,000 for virtual fence, which we funded pending an application for capital investments. But Commissioner Wilkins wanted to readdress that issue regarding how that will be funded.
Yes, I would like to see the court fund that through the discretionary line item.
Okay.
This is kind of an unusual thing, and I think it falls under that category. Appreciate the information that Brooke got us.
Yeah.
So I guess we need to make a motion.
Okay.
Can I
Is there any discussion?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So is this the SIP discretionary
Yes.
line item?
32, and I think it's budgeted this year at 500.
Yeah, it is.
I just feel it's more appropriate to fund it out of that than the grant funds.
And we already funded them, right?
Yes.
So we just need a matter of yeah. I don't, that SIP discretionary fund, I think is actually for emergency situations anyway. I think that's what the purpose of it was to begin with.
Yeah, we can go into some of the historical data, which is listed in there. I think it's more of
An emergency thing, type thing.
I will say that since our last meeting, the SWCD has obtained their towers. They're motivated and excited about this.
Wow.
Innovative opportunity to marry or pair heritage with innovation. That's how I see it. It's just inspiring because this virtual fence doesn't get tried unless there's really a reason, because it's expensive if you already have fence. But if you don't have fence, it becomes very inexpensive because we heard the $9 million price tag to replace the fence based on the Lone Rock fire. And this is, I think it was $270 some thousand to do this. And the Ford family came through for them. So that's great. They received full funding, and I think we helped push it over the finish line by funding this. Wheeler County and Morrow County also are doing something similar. So I think it's worth a try to see how this works. And I support the line item, the SIP discretionary fund being used for it. So is there any other discussion? No. Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve that funding from the county discretionary. I don't have the number.
Okay, we'll find the line item. It's a SIP discretionary fund line item.
Yeah, for $150,000.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? It's been moved and seconded to fund the Soil and Water Conservation District in the amount of $150,000 for virtual fence project from the SIP discretionary line item in the Gillum County budget for 2024-2025. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we should clarify in the minutes that they will not be applying for capital investment funds for that money, which also frees up $150,000 in that line item. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, unfinished business, is early learning stability possible endowment 501c3. Commissioner Watkins, you brought this item forth, and I'll allow you to start the conversation.
Okay, so I don't normally like to address people's letters, but I will address this one because the original discussion happened last spring regarding the endowment and early learning. And then in September, we talked about the economic enhancement fund. And then that's when it came up for the meeting in October, when we actually had a draft of it. And then it had 2 hearings after that. So the fact that the court didn't just pop in a meeting and drop it in front of everybody. So having said that, I think I'll read my agenda briefing. Why is early childhood care and education important? This is a quote. The period from birth to 8 years old is one of the remarkable brain developments for children and represents a crucial window of opportunity for education. When children are healthy, safe, and learning well in the early years, they are better able to reach their full potential, developmental potential as adults and participate effectively in economic, social, and civil life, end quote. There are endless studies regarding the benefits of early childhood care and education for our county to maintain a healthy workforce and make it attractive to new residents. We need to have those services available. More importantly is the welfare of our youngest residents who are the future of our county and country. I believe it is obvious that without the support from the county, the centers in this county would not be able to provide affordable services. Currently, SIP funds are supporting these programs, but there will eventually be a sunset on these funds. The court has identified this as a priority reflected in the strategic plan. On October 2023, the court voted to dedicate 20% of the economic enhancement host fees from waste management towards creating an endowment fund. It will take some time to build a fund substantial enough to support the programs with interest earned from the endowment. But I'm afraid of what happens if we don't plan for the future when the SIPs are no longer available or tax incentive programs change. I am proposing that we form a 501c3 nonprofit, including a board of citizens from Gillum County could fundraise, set policy in regards to distributing funds to providers, and prepare to deposit the host fees paid in August of each year to the Oregon Community Foundation Endowment Program. The OCF is highly respected in the state and nationally. They currently hold the endowment fund for the Condon Scholarship Foundation. It may be possible to utilize Kelly Nonprofit Counseling to help facilitate setting new policy, board training, and guiding a brand new entity contributing to the success of a new program. This process will be lengthy and require legal guidance, so we need to start as soon as possible. The purpose of the discussion today is to lay out a plan moving forward.
Do you have anything, Commissioner?
Yes. I don't know where to begin. I guess I missed this and was really shocked. I know how important the early learning is and childcare, and but it was like stated earlier with the Condon pool, I really think we need to have a come to Jesus meeting with this early learning. I not aware of, you said the previous course talked about it spring of last spring, right?
Yes,
Okay. And then,
because we knew this was coming up.
right. And then I see reference that it was discussed at the September meeting, but I didn't see anything. And then,
So we discussed it at the Arlington meeting in September. So it would have been the second meeting in September.
okay, yes, right. September 20th, right? And then the first reading was October 18th, and second was November 1st and adopted. Here's my concern. The host fees are to be used for economic development, which I understand you can kind of table that or put that towards that. We've committed, there's some new jobs that were created, and I am just concerned that, and I'm against the endowment. We don't know for sure what's going to happen with the funding. I don't know. I just have a lot
So
of.
you do know that they had the Rocket meetings, they participated in both the Condon and Arlington area, which was all towards which Waste Management participated in those meetings.
Right, okay,
And it was almost at the suggestion of Waste Management that part of this economic enhancement fund could be used towards a long-term endowment.
sure.
So I find it, are we gonna say, no, we don't want to spend it on that, and then we're gonna go back and try to negotiate with them
No, I'm not.
in 2025?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying this was a big decision. And so we're committing 20% of the host fees, and we're taking the general fund out of that. And I just think, I've talked to a couple of budget members. I just think there should have been a lot more discussion. And like I say, this was before.
So right now in the economic enhancement fund, so the beginning fund balance for it was $15 million. And it took, and they dispersed all the money, and it took 11 million of unappropriated at the ending to balance it. So 11 million of that was unappropriated.
Well, my concern is this is a large amount of money, and we're going towards, there's only one early learning right now. And my concern is, especially just with this presentation by Mr. Shaw, that I didn't realize this extra add-on was this much money. Here's my concern is, we've put a lot of money towards this one entity. And I'm not saying it doesn't bring in important things to early learning. We all know that's important. But here's my thing is, why didn't we do this before we started to make these commitments? My first meeting I was on, we made a commitment to approve a grant that they had applied for. And I don't know, I don't know if we got the cart before the horse or whatever, but, I think we're going about this backwards. And the last thing I want the staff to do is to worry about their funding. I know this is important, but, I think we need to have a lot of discussion. And you're right, we need to come up with a plan. I just don't agree that this is the right one. I don't know, that's just a large amount of money. I don't know, if we do this, is the county court opening up for another nonprofit to come in? I don't know. I don't know if the early learning can be tied to the school district somehow, to where possibly the county court can just give the school district and both districts money. I just feel we are putting a large amount of money for a small group. And I'm concerned about their going forward. You know, even if we do the endowment, they're still gonna have to have funds to operate, right? I mean, they'll probably have to come from the court somehow, right?
No, because that's the money will come from the endowment.
But to build that,
The money to operate would come from that endowment fund eventually.
right, but
10 years.
until we get to that, they're still gonna need funding, right? Where's that gonna come?
Well, and this is why we decided to do this, because if we just continue to go like we are and don't do something, we're gonna go for so long, SIP money's gonna run out, and then what do? Just let them fall off the cliff then at that point?
Well, and I understand that part too, the SIP funds.
We could do like the state did for the school districts. They funded them and then said, no, this is all you're gonna get. And so,
Well, and I see, I understand that with the SIP funds reaching their sunset, but there is some tax dollars that are gonna be coming in, all that, with that, after that too. I don't know,
but that's, I don't know, does anybody know what that's gonna look like?
I don't think they
do
do
not yet,
yet,
but we also don't know if there's gonna be more projects coming.
yeah.
Potential projects. I have a different thought on this and a potential solution. So just the background. The issue is, it is in the economic enhancement ordinance. It's not called an endowment, it's called an early learning stability line item. And just the background is that those funds, of course, come from the host fees under an agreement with Gillum County Waste Management. Use of the host fees is governed through the Gillum County Economic Enhancement Ordinance, which we both have a copy of. And in 2023, the Economic Enhancement Ordinance was revised, taking 20% from the general fund and allocating that 20% to the early learning sustainability line item. That 20% amounts to approximately $900 to $1 million a year. So we all understand that, just making sure we all are on the same page there. The idea is to take, so what I'm focusing on today, we have an existing ordinance, which is a law. Today, we have a line item, a childcare sustainability line item. I'm focusing on leaving the money here or moving it to a nonprofit. So that's going to be my thoughts today. And so just extracting some of the language right out of the ordinance that says the purpose of this ordinance was and will be to direct how those funds are expended. We probably need legal advice if we're going to explore this further, but to me, that means Gillum County is going to expend those funds. The administration of the funds, the Gillum County Treasurer shall hold all economic enhancement fund monies until the month of August of the succeeding year and shall invest such monies under guidelines provided by Oregon law. And so where I'm going with this is we have never, to my knowledge, taken money from this ordinance and put it in the hands of others to manage. So that's a question. We have a homestead endowment fund and a homestead rebate line item. So we're managing both of those here. And we could do the same with these funds. I do realize there may be more flexibility for a nonprofit with investing, because governments have limitations. And so I guess that would be my question. Is that the goal? Is that the vision?
Which, another thing too, is if you have a board of county citizens that run this under the 501c3, they would have the ability to fundraise, they would have the ability to put out letters each year for donations that we as a county can't do.
So would
To
the
help
board still,
to
would
build that.
the board still exist, the childcare boards?
I would envision that you would put, like, have a representative from each one of them, along with other. And I think that you would have to have, my vision would be that there would be equal numbers from both ends, and they come together and they decide how that money is dispersed.
Okay. I did see a hand back. I'll allow. Okay, sorry, Dana Hahn was first, and then you can go. Go ahead.
Dana
Hahn.
Hahn, back to what North Lincoln.
I'm sorry to have you come up, but they're gonna hear you a lot better if you stand up and come forward. I know it's,
Okay. I understand the importance of early childhood development. I don't have a problem with that. What I don't understand is the structure. Is there a curriculum over there? And if there's a curriculum, do you have a certified teacher? I don't understand what makes that early childhood development as opposed to childcare. Okay, and if you have a curriculum, then there has to be an obligation of attendance. And yet what I hear is not all children come all the time.
okay.
Okay, that's not a curriculum, and one of the things that children need to learn is a commitment of time. I don't see that happening. And now you want to establish an endowment for another nonprofit. Okay, and I have no idea, there's nothing in the document with regard to structure. There's nothing in the document with regard to finances. And what I hear you saying, Leah, as I just heard you say, that you would, I don't remember the word, you would presume or whatever with regard to the board of directors for early learning and now a board of directors for a 501c3.
No,
I don't know who those board of directors are going to be. I don't know what the expenses are, but I do see a lot of money being poured into Condon and not Gillum County. Okay, and now what I also see in this document is that they want to put all child care in Gillum County under this one umbrella. I have a problem with that because I don't know who's going to be involved on the board. And if, as an example, you involve somebody who has been under recall, I can see where that could cause a credibility problem for you. And what I saw in the previous court was a lot of decisions being made with vindictiveness. I don't want to see that happen again, and I certainly don't want to see it happen with childcare. And I don't think you should put all childcare under one umbrella until you have that established.
Thank you.
And what are the expenses? You have absolutely nothing in here regarding the structure of this endowment.
Okay.
Okay? Nothing. We want to see, we
Yeah,
need
that
to see
is the-
structure.
and that is the purpose of this discussion today, to get started on it.
Right.
That's why there's no plan here. I didn't bring a plan.
Yeah, we're just talking, and that's great. This is in a public forum, and this is the beauty of government.
Yeah.
Okay, this is how we do it. So we're going to talk about it. We took public input, and we're going to allow Ms. Potter, go ahead. Yeah, come on up if you'd like.
I didn't plan on commenting, but after the correspondence, I do think it's important. Haley Potter, I live at 609 South Main in Condon. So many things to address. One, I just kind of want to talk about how this is going to affect us in the immediate. Firstly, we have an established building, we have staff, we have an operation that is happening right now. And if it doesn't, if certain things happen, it could completely devastate the current operation. I would like to see it progress. I would like to see the expansion, obviously, And I would like to ask for less money from the county in the future. And right now, we are applying for a grant through Better Oregon that is up to 2 million to help with the expansion. We found out recently that the building is going to be not 2 million, but more like 2.8. And so we would love to get that grant, and then maybe we could give money back to you guys because anyone who's familiar with applying for grants, they all want to see the network of you're getting support from multiple different places. And this is no different. They want to see what is your sustainability plan. And 4 years, we have gotten operation support from the county, and that's part of it. We are talking with Kelly Nonprofit. I know I'm overstaffed, but again, it all works together. So we won't be overstaffed once we have more slots, more incoming coming from those slots. But we need to be able to tell Better Oregon, what's your plan? And Kelly Nonprofit, when I told them what our operation budget was, they said that was perfectly reasonable for a staff of our size. But they will sit with Sarah and I and look at things and see what we can do better, if anything. We get money from the USDA, we get money from ERDC, from Head Start. We're doing what we can to be as sustainable as possible. We fundraise, and we do have a curriculum, and that's another part of it. Our teachers are they're required to have a certain amount of education every year, in addition to a certain amount of education to do the job. And that's I just wanted to let you know where we're at. It would be helpful for us to be able to say what is our plan. And I know you guys are restructuring, and if you have any suggestions even to me on what we can do, I just would hate to see this sort of fall apart. It would negatively affect a lot of people in the community.
I do have a question about Arlington's preschool is in their school. Now, I realize there's no room in the Conan School District, but and we cannot speak for the school district. I'm not speaking for Conan School District, but I found out there's 16 kids and 2 teachers in the Arlington preschool, and they do preschool promise. The kids go from 7:45 to 1:45, and this is just the kids who are three and to school age. And I don't know the cost, but has there been any thoughts about integrating the school with your space at all to help decrease cost?
So that's what I don't know. I mean, to be honest, from what I understand, I'm new to childcare. I'm 2 years in, and the first year as a director. But every expert I've spoken to, it's known to be a nationwide fact that it is not a money-making business. Some sort of help is usually needed to be successful. So reworking that and refiguring it out is a huge challenge, and it's not something that I personally know how to do right now.
We're just talking.
Preschool promise, they pay, I think, $8.60 maybe a slot, if I remember correctly. The exact number I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know how the school district is doing it over there. I don't know what their structure is. With our building, we'll have 3 new buildings. There was some slight talk of being able to rent out our 3rd room, because I've heard that the elementary school is already kind of needing more space. There's been talk of an after-school program, which I would love to figure out, because I think I could run that with maybe teenagers after school who want a job with 1 adult, and then the rates might help.
The school district received a grant. It's a 21st century grant, I believe, and they're covering that. I don't know if that's in the building or not.
After school program?
After school program.
That's wonderful.
Michelle let me know that. I haven't touched base with her recently, but in the last 6 weeks I talked to her.
That's great. Yeah, that's so much. That's what I have. And we actually have spoken with Jeremiah, who is the head of the board in Arlington, I believe. And we aim to have a good relationship with Arlington, and learn from each other, and we're hoping to meet soon. And I just want to
Do
share
you
that
know
too.
the cost to families for preschool if you didn't qualify for any programs?
So we extend.
She raised her hand. I
Yeah.
don't know if she.
She's got a lot of numbers in
Okay.
her head, I'll tell you that. But I think if we didn't have any sort of support, I think in order to pay staff a living wage and where we're at, I think it's over $3,000 or something per family is what they'd have to pay if we had no money coming in from anywhere.
So if a family didn't qualify for any programs, is there a dollar amount that, if you can't quote the dollar amount, I'm not asking you to, I'm just curious.
We offer several different types of care, like Monday through Friday, full-time.
No,
Monday
just
through Thursday,
preschool.
Part-time. So preschool would be like 8 to 3:30. And do you know the rate for that?
The rate for preschool is they're notoriously cheaper to take care of. I think it is anywhere from $465 to $655. And that's just depending on, and that's with the Go County discount that we provide through the grants that we receive to make these costs affordable. When I bill ERDC for just a regular average going student, it is $765, and it can go upwards to $1,020 for a very full-time student, which means Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, which for a lot of individuals is what they need because of their full-time jobs.
Is that per
But
month?
even that cost does not, they notoriously underfund rural areas because they believe it's really cheaper, and it's not necessarily that. So that cost we get from the ERDC does not help our overhead necessarily.
Does every family qualify for the tuition reduction?
So,
I mean,
yes.
is that income-based, or does
Nope.
every family
No.
qualify?
The way that works is ERDC is able to pay us a certain amount if that's what we charge community slots. So we provide a Gillum County discount.
Yeah,
because
that's
we
what
get
I'm
it-
talking about.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so to everybody who's
Okay.
in a community slot, yes.
All right.
And we also have our Tuition for Tots program, which we fundraise completely separate to be able to provide some additional support to families who don't qualify for ERDC or Head Start, but might need a little bit of extra help.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Hey,
thank you.
hey, then, you mentioned building grant fund that you guys were putting in for,
Uh-huh.
and you said it was 2 point,
It's up to 2 million.
okay.
So Ford Family likes to see that you've raised half already, which we had from the county with the 1 million. But now that that's gone up,
Right.
we don't have half anymore. So we're hoping for that as well. And then we can still get more from Ford and other entities to fill in the gaps and
Okay.
hopefully give you guys.
Because I know you mentioned in the previous one we were doing that some of the other funds you were going after, but
Yeah. It all works together, unfortunately, and like you have to have a solid plan when you apply for each one of those grants. So that's kind of the position that we're in with.
Yeah, and they also are, like you said, they're looking at, yeah, we get it built, but are you going to sustain it down the road?
Yeah, and another thing I kind of wanted to add is rural, what was it called, the Condon Can meetings we were having, Rural Development Initiative or something. They came here and they polled our county and we met 4 times. And just to let that you know, they haven't finished the report, but a huge part of what came through in the polls was the community all agrees that certain things for childcare are necessary to bring us into the future. One being a higher teacher to child ratio, better pay, benefits, and those, I feel I've done my job in the last year to try and put that in place. And I just wanted to add that as well. When that report's available, I'll be happy to share it.
Accessibility and affordability to families, I hope, was on the list too. You had it?
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
we offer some of the most affordable
Yeah.
childcare because you guys have been able to help us.
Good.
Yeah.
One more time.
I just have a general statement just regarding the endowment. It gives me a lot of hope and excitement because I think Haley and I agree, we don't want to be at the center. And I see so much opportunity, especially when I think about Margaret and her heading to Arlington Center. Is home-based right now, but their hopes is to become a center base in Arlington. And with this endowment, I could help them. Endowments could also help if anybody wants to start their own home base, which notoriously has so much red tape in terms of like how you brush, you insurance. And I think it could just make all parts of our county thrive and flourish. And we don't want to have a wait list. We don't want to be the epicenter. We want this to be just accessible for everybody, you know, commute-wise, everything. And it just gives me a lot of hope. And I'm excited.
We have one child who comes whose mom runs a daycare out of her home and still sends her child to our center. You know, we work together and we're friendly about it. And, you know, just because people like, I mean, their kids like coming to the early learning center. They have fun.
Good, thank you very much.
Thank you.
A couple of other points that I'd like to make. We're a small county and it's hard to find volunteers. And there's a shallow pool of volunteers. So in the weighing of pros and cons here, I hope that you would actually find board members for another board. And the other is that if it's about interest earnings and that a foundation could earn more interest options, could we, Gillum County, create an investment advisory committee with these funds that are in this childcare sustainability line item and leave them here and look at other options to invest here? I guess a bit of the concern is that we retain the monies that these funds were intended for. Maybe I'm reading between the lines, but I feel we should hold the funds. Did I see anybody's hand raised?
By putting all childcare under this endowment, you have made content the epicenter. Okay, and my experience with the previous board, granted, is that there wasn't a lot of fairness regarding the other childcare. I don't want to see that happen again. And I am not, I would not be prepared to approve this endowment because Condon becomes the epicenter. And I agreed with some of the questions that Grant had. I think we need more information on this before you approve an endowment. We need to know, how are you going to guarantee fairness? Because we have not seen fairness previously when it comes to childcare.
Okay. Do we know what the average interest earnings are from the Oregon Community Foundation and how they invest?
I have not got that deep into it because, okay, I just know that, I'm sure there's other entities that are in it that probably could reach out to the Condon Dollars for Scholars and find out where, you know, how
Because
they're.
we're earning 5%, isn't it about 5% currently with the Oregon government investment pool? Isn't that about right? I think. I know it goes up and down, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah. And with potential higher return comes more risk too. So again, pros and cons.
I guess I'm not sure either on the endowment. Do you have to commit so many years, or is it year to year, or, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I would think if the endowment got to the point where it had enough money in it to sustain itself going forward, that you could probably just, you know, redo your enhancement fund to.
Right, well, I guess let me put it this way. I guess it's like, okay, let's say that we did do this. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's a 10-year, but we get 5 years, like, okay, hey, we can't do this. I mean, do we just, they send our money back to us? I mean, I guess there's questions I got. I'm not in a doubt.
Well, I believe that you have to put a certain amount in it to begin with, which I don't know what that threshold is, but I would guess it's way less than $1 million that we would be putting in it the first time around, so, or somewhere in that ballpark. But I know that some of them, like, they have to have at least 50,000 or something like that, but I'm not sure what that threshold is.
Yeah.
Okay, so help me. So if the fund, whether it's retained here in Gillum County or is it's in a nonprofit, okay. The idea is to let it build for 10 years. Was that the vision?
Yeah, more or less,
Okay,
yes.
so that's, according to the budget, the economic enhancement, transferred from general fund, so now that 20% is now going to the childcare as of August, the childcare sustainable, it's a little over $1 million, so $1 million a year. So that's $10 million. And is the vision that the interest would be what would be funding?
Yes.
So if Condon Early Learning Center asked for 300,000 or was awarded 300,000 and Arlington requested 270, is the interest going to support that? That would be my question.
Yeah.
Whether it's at the Oregon Community Foundation or here at Gillum County, or are you going to be eating into that amount of money that is allocated each year as opposed to the interest? Those would be my thoughts.
Well, I think those are all good questions, but I
Yeah.
think they're stuff
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
would need to be answered as we
Yeah.
go along.
Okay, so, because that's 500 and, let's see.
You know, it's, I will
570,000.
just mention, you know, when, a long time ago, the court they sold the Pennington Ranch and it was donated to Gillum County.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, I think it was supposed to be used for something.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, a court just went and it was
Yeah,
gone.
right.
So that's my only thought about, because who knows who's going to be on the court, you know, 10,
That's true.
15 years from now, and they go, oh, well, you know, look, we got this pot of money, and let's just,
Mhm.
that's my whole thought in putting it there and protecting it. So,
Okay,
and there isn't going to be anybody from the state that's going to come along and say, we're going to give you guys more money. That's just not going to happen.
yeah,
Because like right now, they're looking at removing the ODOT station from here.
right,
So there's not money in the state for them to say,
right,
we got a bunch of extra money we're gonna send for early learning.
yeah.
Everybody's gonna tell you, early learning's important, but
Correct. Mhm.
they're not gonna fund it.
You have a comment?
Yeah, Chris, those questions have to be answered before you form them down. Okay, because it doesn't make sense to me.
So Dana,
How
the money,
interest is going to support them.
Okay,
the money will not be even available till next August of 2025. So what I'm proposing is that we do all the groundwork and everything and figure out what we're gonna do till we get to that point. So we have till August of 2025 before anything will ever be dispersed to an endowment.
So
We're not gonna run out tomorrow.
This time.
We're not gonna run out tomorrow and put money in an endowment. It'll 2025,
this
August.
is just opening
We
the
have to get
conversation.
Questions answered before any money is transferred or committed to the endowment.
Okay, so do we want to continue to discuss this, or do we want to table this, or do we want to do something else?
I think right now, I guess my feeling is I'd like to table it. But
Okay.
I second that.
to me, I mean, I want to see that place, you know, go and stay there. I hope you don't take anything else away from that. But I guess down inside, I just think, okay, this should have been part of the first process of this. So you weren't worrying about funding. We weren't trying to figure, I mean, I guess to me, it doesn't seem like I don't agree if there really was a plan to kind of get this going. And I'm not trying to be negative, but you know, it's very important. It's a lot of money. And, you know, I don't know, got to make sure I feel that we justify this to the taxpayers. And like I say, we want to do the best we can with these. We're fortunate to have this money. So.
Okay, so we'll continue discussion to the next meeting. And it'll be on the agenda under unfinished business. We'll continue the discussion. Okay. Next on the,
Well, and I think I would like to invite somebody from Waste Management to come and voice their opinions on this too. 'Cause we are gonna be having to turn around and negotiate with them
Yes, we
next
are.
year on this.
We are. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, I'm only one county court member, but an ordinance is a law. There's a current line item that's honored unless and until it changes. That's how I feel about it. It's just a matter of where is the money going to be kept. That to me is the central issue that we're talking about. So, right now, and I know you had some other thoughts on that as well, the deeper issue of the 20%. I understand that. But I just wanted to clarify my thoughts. Okay, next item on the
So,
agenda.
Just to ask, where would you like to see that go, Grant?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's like, I was shocked that, about the changes to the disbursement percentage with, you know, so we're making a big decision here and a commitment, but I mean, was anybody else, the county court just decide that when they decided to do the disbursement changes? Or was the budget committee
So,
involved?
okay, so again, I said at the beginning, we talked about it in the spring of 2023.
Okay.
And then in September, we had a meeting and talked about it, which I think there was 2 people at that meeting.
Right, you covered.
Then we had the meeting in October when the draft of it came out. And I believe that's a meeting that all you guys showed up for and discussed why we were talking about that, because the issue was they were afraid that the general fund, cutting from the general fund was going to affect departments.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, you know, I think it gets dispersed into this, the Economic Enhancement Fund, which I think I said that it is using $11 million to unappropriated funds. So we have all this money sitting there. And one of the things during the whole budget process with the budget committee is they said, you know, one of the things that is disturbing is the amount of money sitting around in the county budget that's unappropriated.
Mm-hmm.
Millions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like any of that was discussed with any of the budget members about this possible, how this was gonna go forward though.
I discussed it with Wally Al, he's on the budget committee.
Okay, well, the other 2 that I've spoken to had no idea. So I don't know, anyway, we just need to.
Okay. This will give us a chance to collect our thoughts and our questions and do some research and have some answers when we come back the next time to some of the things we discussed here today. Any new business? There are no items on the agenda. If not, announcements, next meeting. The next meeting will be September 18th in Arlington at 10 o'clock a.m. at the Broncos building.
I will most likely be on Zoom.
Yes,
Meeting
yes.
Chris.
Okay, that will be fine. Hopefully you will feel better soon.
Yeah.
Judges, commissioners reports. I'll allow you guys, go ahead. I have some things to say.
Go ahead. I don't have.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to report that I was at Norcor with a staff meeting August 22nd, did a tour. They had a scheduled meeting in October. They moved one up to September. They're already worried about some of their budget shortfall. Visited a little bit with Sheriff Betancourt yesterday about it. Real quick update, Cedar Springs bypass. I had a conversation with one of the landowners, and I want to get with Dewey, and that's kind of my next thing.
Relocation.
Yes, I have some questions for Dewey about right of ways and some things like that, but some of the landowner stuff. And I believe we have a Korea meeting scheduled on the 13th of September also. That's all I got.
Good. You did well, that's good. So I had a Zoom meeting with the planning staff, Stephanie Case and Carla McLean, regarding our assistant Anya was part of that as well, regarding a FEMA floodplain development that involves salmon in the floodplain. A plan must be in place by December 1st. But there is hope that the implementation date will be delayed 90 days, and Association of Oregon Counties is assisting keeping us informed on that. I had a meeting with Nate Stice from Oregon Regional Solutions, and we learned how Gillum County can benefit from that support. Very good meeting. During the meeting, I let him know that we need to find out how we can be released from the covenant with ODA on the grain lab when that's up in the spring. And he put us in touch with the person that can help us do that and let us know the process. We'll have to go probably through a title company and get some legal advice on how to do that, but it's not going to be hard at all. I spoke with Scott Peters about the talks of closure of the ODOT maintenance facility in Condon due to shortfalls in transportation funding, which is extremely concerning. We need to let our legislatures know why this facility is vital to our area. I also reached out to Greg Smith's office, his assistant Dawson, regarding the need for the ODOT maintenance facility in Condon and why it needs to remain open. There'll be a transportation funding meeting in the Dells on Friday, September 13th, to listen to testimony regarding the funding of transportation. I hope they address it. If they don't, I will, about the need to keep this. So I'm hoping to get input, anecdotal stories that have happened in winters, stories from EMS, law enforcement, economic development interests, those types of things. So when we go, we have an arsenal of reasons why we need to keep that facility open.
Well, winter would be the number one.
Yes, right. We probably need to get the press involved.
Yeah, they,
I'm gonna be there.
Okay.
the Condon branch, I think they plow from here to Quarno, from here, and a lot of times if Sherman County is busy, they'll plow
97.
clear to Wasco because they're all on 97.
And Arlington, as I understand it, is supposed to stay on the freeway.
Yeah,
Most
and
of
so
the
they
time.
will plow to Arlington
Mm-hmm.
and then
Condon North.
partway to Hebner, so
Right.
we could potentially be landlocked.
Yes.
So.
We've been refining processes. Anya and I, she's a great addition, and she's helped so much in the office, and we did a great job there.
She was a good hire.
I have a meeting scheduled with the Chamber of Commerce regarding small business development grants to determine how those work and what the standards are. I'll get through my list and then I'll get to you, but hold your thought, okay? I had a meeting with Nan Lorenz, Arden Mills, regarding a small paving project. Met with the auditors who are conducting the audit currently for last fiscal year. I also had a great conversation with Mid Columbia Economic Development District, Jessica Mehta, who's the executive director. She said the process to join the district has been tabled until 25. Okay, we're just in a holding pattern, but I've been learning the benefits and the fact that it would be a very good fit for us to join geographically, even across the river. I think there's huge benefits there, and I hope that we can develop
I think that
future
was
relationship.
part of the whole step to begin with was because it was two states and they had to have
Get permission
approval
from
over
both
there,
governors.
approval over here, so.
Yeah, but Michelle Colby was hired, and she's actually helping Sherman County, working with them on their bus barn project and their EV charging station. So watching that, I'm thinking that's one of the holes we have here is grant writing and grant management and just the greater economic development vision. So Citizen Advisory Meeting is coming up September 17th, and it will be at the Gronquist Building, and Anya has taken that on, and she's making sure that's moving forward.
Are you doing Zoom at it too?
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a Zoom bid.
Okay, I might be on Zoom for that.
That's all I have. So, did you have a input?
When you were talking about the roads in that building, you're talking about the county?
No, the roads,
Yeah.
State
this is
highway.
state highways.
Oh, state highway. Oh, dang, Chris, you mean I'm stuck with that berm in front of my house?
Well, the other
No.
argument that our
You
road,
might not make it out of town, so your little berm will be nothing.
our road department, think of this argument. Why plow our roads if you can't get beyond Gillum County? Why plow the rural roads? So there's a lot of arguments. We just need to get them, the best ones, and put them together so that we have a message.
Okay, and I believe that we were supposed to have a list of people and their qualifications. from Kelly NPC? Do we have that yet?
They will be on the, Kelly Nonprofit, are they going to be on the agenda?
I think the 18th.
The 18th, so that would be the next meeting. So is it Kristen? Is she kind
I
of?
believe she's coming.
Yeah, so Kelly Nonprofit update will be on the agenda at the next meeting.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Anything else? Any other business?
I'm still a little ticked about that burden.
Okay, being no further business, meeting is adjourned at 11:59.